Hello, everyone. We're back again as we get close to the end of our Psalms for the Summertime series. This coming week, on Sunday, I plan to preach on Psalm 40. Psalm 40 is a really interesting psalm. I'm not going to go into all the interesting facts about it here in this video. One of the interesting facts about this psalm, which I'm almost sure won't be in my sermon, is that the rock band, the very popular rock band U2, for years and years and years, they have a version of Psalm 40 that they sing. It's on one of their early albums, and they would end every single one of their concerts by singing this version of Psalm 40. And you'd have this amazing spectacle where this huge crowd of people, some of them Christians, but many of them not, many of them probably never darkened the door of the church, would not just hear this song, but they would often be invited to sing this song. And if you go online, you can hear these recordings of people singing the words. Big crowds, stadium crowds at U2 concerts, singing the words of Psalm 40. It's a really interesting spiritual phenomenon. But I want to start by reading the text of the first three verses of Psalm 40. And as I read these verses, I want you to hear that the psalmist wants to tell you and me a story. Here's a story. I waited patiently for the Lord, and he turned to me. And he heard my cry. He lifted me out of the slimy pit, out of the mud and the mire. And he set my feet on a rock and gave me a firm place to stand. He put a new song in my mouth, a hymn of praise to my God. Many will see and fear and put their trust in him. So the psalmist starts his psalm with a personal story, and he wants us to think about stories. Psalm 40, especially the beginning of it, is a psalm about stories and the role that stories play in our life. And that's what we'll be thinking about on Sunday, the role of story, the role of witness in our life. And as you get ready, I urge you to read this psalm. And then as you read it, I'm going to be preaching on verses 1 through 10 especially. As you read it, here's some questions. First, what does the psalmist do with his story? What does the psalmist do with his story? How does he handle it? Second, as you read the psalm, what do you make of that strange little phrase in verse 7, which I think is pretty important? Psalmist says in verse 7, "Here I am, I have come, it is written about me in the scroll." It is written about me in the scroll. As you read through the psalm, what might the psalmist be talking about there? And then finally, last question, a personal one. Is there a story from your life or from the life of your family or in your experience of someone close to you? Is there a story from your life that has been really important for you and your spiritual development? And what have you done with that story? Who knows that story? And why is it really important in your faith? Just something for you to consider by yourself as you get ready for Sunday. I'll see you then.